Hello, we're the Livestream. I'm Carlie. This is Fancy,
Hello.
Lex,
Hello there.
and Roger.
Hello.
And we're gonna talk about the 7 best songs.
Very exciting stuff. So, was anyone surprised by the outcome? Disappointed? Like, what are your personal favorites?
Surprised, no. Disappointed a little bit.
I think some fans were disappointed as well because, well, there's a concern that it was a bit biased.
Well, it's the Final Fantasy VII community, so I think you have to expect there to be some FF7 bias.
That's what I said as well.
Having said that, I'm a little bit one-winged angel. Like it feels a bit on the nose for that to have gotten first place.
What is interesting is because this is a mix of the community event that we did last year, and then last year because it was like a poll, like when we got to a point, it was like a song versus another song. The song that ended up winning was Liberty Fatale.
Yeah, and this was what I decided to take was the top 16 winners and re-poll them again, because we basically didn't have any like quotes or anyone saying anything about the songs, and we wanted to make sure that people were okay with being quoted. And so it was like, oh, do this again and see if you can knock Liberty Fatale off of its throne. I didn't expect for that to actually happen. And then One Winged Angel cropped up to number 1 spot, but that was in second place last year. So
I've actively campaigned in the past for songs like One Winged Angel and Eris seem to not make it into the top.
Right, because you see it's like, oh, fucking typical. Like,
Yeah.
of course.
Well, like this isn't the first music poll we've had.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point in doing them if that's just going to win every time? Like, it's a good song, but come on, guy.
Right. And that's why I think it's important to have like diversity, like have more people from like other fandoms coming in and voting and like representing their songs.
You remember when we actually did the community event last year? I was trying really hard to campaign for 14 songs to get like ahead in the event, but like I think Dawn from the Heaven was the only one that made it like to the 3rd round, and that wasn't even like the top 16 or anything. I was so mad about that because a lot of people on our forum haven't played 14, and it has, especially like Heavensward has an amazing soundtrack.
Right.
No one was voting for them.
And that's the whole thing. It's just like a lot of these songs are like super amazing, but a lot of what these votes come back to, I think, is like nostalgia and what a song will make you feel. And that's the power of music. And that's what was so interesting about doing this event, to see what people voted for and why they voted for them. Like some people say, oh, every time I hear this track, it brings me right back to when, we were fighting this enemy and I thought it was going to be the end, and that sort of thing.
I feel like one of the problems that people don't, when they put like their personal favorites as opposed to objectively which are the better songs.
Right, and then you have Eris theme winning every year.
And then you had like hate voting, which happened quite a bit when we were doing the poll last year. Because like a lot of people to Sarnacan, people didn't want it, so they were like hate voting for anything.
I know, that was like a big controversy. It's like, oh, not to Sarnacan, people, it's so overrated. That's what people say, it's so overrated. And but like, yeah. Me personally, I think, you vote however you want with this, so long as it's like within like the rules. I'm not gonna like try to dictate like what reason you voted for whatever. Like if I notice that someone is like actively like never voting for like songs that come from a specific soundtrack, I'm not gonna slide into your DMs and be like, hey, I know, I see what you're doing, So I think it's all fair game. That's what the thrill of voting is, people vote for different reasons.
I feel like this is why like doing it the whole time blank choice voting, so that prevents because sometimes like when you have like a poll, one song versus the other, it doesn't always come up like a specific 2 songs, because there were some of that, like To Sound Again was like in the quarterfinals versus You're Not Alone. which are two fantastic songs. But then you have like another quarterfinal round where there were two songs that weren't as strong as those two. When you have ranked choice voting the whole way through, it prevents that from happening. It also prevents people from hate voting because it's just ranking. Everyone's just ranking their songs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a format that's definitely can be considered.
So, like, number 7 on this list was "You're Not Alone,"
and it only just made it in the only 9 song.
Right? Yeah, it's interesting because like I think if people could see what like the top like 10 or like 15 songs were, there was a lot more diverse, and there was a lot of contenders from like 12 and 9 specifically. I remember.
Like, I remember like when we did the show polling last year, "You're Not Alone" made it to the semifinals, which means it was in the top 4.
Oh, wow.
Out of all the songs, that's probably the one that I have like the biggest personal attachment to, but it's not it's obviously not as good as some of the other songs that are on on the polling for the video. And I think it was like in the video, like one of my quotes was used like for that one because it is like it's one of the great scenes in the game.
It's like so significant. It goes back again to like I don't know. It's kind of hard to measure like how good a song is.
Yeah,
because it really it's so subjective.
Somnus is a really good song, but it kind of invokes your memory of scenes that don't actually exist anymore because it was never made.
Right.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Yeah, and where it played in 15 in the end up isn't quite as iconic as the original track when it was released.
Because take Genova, this is number 6. Objectively, really good song. I don't have any personal attachment to it because, like, obviously I didn't play the game, and like to the point where that comes up in the game, I haven't done that. So I don't have any personal attachment to it.
I love Genova, and I think if you played the game, you would get that emotional attachment.
Finish the game.
Well, if you finish the game, yeah. Or if you got to like a very early-ish point in the game where you first hear that song,
right,
it might evoke some feeling in the future. And one of the best things about Genova is the sounds that are used are quite alien, which is the point. You know, it's got that like kind of electronic intro, which is so different to whatever else you hear in the game. So it really sticks out.
It's just it feels like more science fiction, more aliens. The movie, like it's a really good song.
Yeah, but that's what it does.
Yeah,
it tells you how different the villain is. How different Genova is from any other Final Fantasy villain up to that point, anyway.
And then there's Aerith's theme. Ugh.
No, Liberi Fatale is the one.
Liberi Fatale. See, I was already trying to skip ahead to this.
The winner in the community event last year ended up here at 5.
Yeah, that's because somebody was actively. I'm not going to say who. Obviously, I get to see all the votes. I know all your secrets. But, somebody voted that pretty low, and I was like, "Oh,
really?
Yeah." They were like, "Revenge." I was like, again, I don't slide into anyone's DMs and like demand that they explain why they voted the way that they did. But it's always interesting to see like the patterns and like, oh, this person obviously has like a bias for 9, or this one has a bias for 15, and all etc.
Is it revenge for like? For once out of the 100 times that we ranked the songs that One Winged Angel didn't turn out 1-1. It didn't have a perfect record.
Right. I don't know. Someone was like, damn it, this is a 7 for him.
Liberi Fatale is amazing though. Like it's marks kind of Nobuo Uematsu's musical composition graduation for video games, in my opinion. It's when like 7, 8, 9 are obviously considered the golden age of Final Fantasy, but like his music, I say, really peaked in 8 and 9. And you know, it continues to hit that level even now, but those soundtracks are so consistent compared to anything that's come since.
Right.
Yeah. And it all started really with Liberi Fatale. What a track.
Yeah, as someone that hates 8, it is an amazing song. I don't have any context for it in the game, but just listening to it is amazing.
It's really interesting because like when I was doing like research for this video, just like finding out like the different things that Nobuo Uematsu explored to bring the sound together. Like if I recall, that was the first one to utilize like orchestra and vocals
Well, One Winged Angel has vocals.
Yeah, but that was the first one for vocals and orchestra, I believe. That was Liberi Fatali's like glaring, not glaring, but distinguishing feature.
Yes.
Okay, you move on to the Eris theme.
Okay, just start, because like even when you're saying it, you have opinions.
No, I mean it's just like it's just, of course, it's kind of like, I feel like One Winged Angel and Eris theme are a bit in a similar boat as, and like there are those songs, like even before, like even when we were like compiling the list, you knew like, oh yeah, this is gonna make it right to like the semifinals. And I mean, I don't like using the term overrated. I think it's more, the problem is that these tracks are overheard.
Iconic.
And like
iconic, but boring is what is how I describe Eris theme. I remember it really did evoke emotion the first time I heard it, which is when Elmira's doing her flashback after Eris taken by Shinra. And that moment, like that, the track stands out then, and then obviously the moment it stands out later on, it really stands out. And it's a beautiful track, but it is overused, and it'll always be iconic. It'll always be what it is. Just predictable, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you love something or how much you think something's great. When you hear it too many times, you're going to start disliking it.
Right.
And every single time there's a Final Fantasy concert or whatever, like I ever seen to Sarnake and One Winged Angel are always in there. So they have a backlash to it. So that's why you have to like separate like your personal opinions towards the song and your objective opinions towards the song, because it's still a great song.
Right.
But like, just play something else at concert.
Like, there's a reason why it still resonates.
Yeah. Just play new stuff, and people like will calm down and not like, oh, here it goes again.
So
here it goes. I wonder what's gonna win.
Well, like you can't not have it because it's related to something really iconic. It's the same with her death scene. Like you've seen it a bunch of times. Everyone knows she dies, but like it is like something iconic that happened.
I actually voted, like I ranked Eris theme pretty high on my list, because I mean it was like 14 songs, and I think I was listening to Eris theme right after going through all of Dancing Mad and Aria di Mezzo Tatare. So like I like the simple part of it.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, it's iconic, and you hear it and you immediately know, and it immediately takes you there. It's a bit similar to Zanakine. That's the next one. I wish more X tracks made it higher, because I don't know. I think this is nostalgia speaking again, but I like love X's soundtrack, specifically the People of the North and Wandering Flame. Shout out to B, who was campaigning for that one hard from the start.
Can I admit something? I thought like when she started campaigning to it that wasn't a real song for Final Fantasy. I thought it was just a troll joke. It's called Wandering Flame. It sounds like something that doesn't have anything to do with Final Fantasy.
She was just making up shit. Just wanted to speed a fake song to see how far it went.
Not necessarily a fake song, just not a song from a Final Fantasy soundtrack. That sounds like
that's hilarious.
That sounds like a song from the 70s, Wandering Flame.
Can you imagine if like some songs from like Chrono Trigger made it on there and people were just like, it's so good, we're gonna vote for it anyway.
I absolutely would have done that.
That would have, if someone would have nominated and you would have allowed it to go through, people would have.
People are mad at me because I'm just too
all the time on the forum.
I'm too lax. I'm just like, if it makes people happy, go on.
So, like, you have to use your actual names, and then no one did.
Right? Yeah, can we talk about that? Every time I try to see, this is why I let people do stuff, because every time I try to act like authoritative, people are like, oh, fancy, whatever, fuck you, when they do what they want anyway. I'm like, okay, well, can't beat them.
I'll be honest, I'm not very familiar with the 10 soundtrack. And I'm not a fan of 10.
10 is a bit weak, yeah.
The soundtrack's fantastic, though, and I don't agree that it's weak, but like the soundtrack is great.
Yeah, the soundtrack's fantastic.
It's the first one Uematsu had help with.
Yeah.
So there's multiple composers on the FF10 soundtrack. Fantastic stuff.
Every single time that I hear one of the songs for Tang, it sounds great. And outside of the fact that the Sonic is extremely overplayed, it's still a fantastic song. It gets you like emotional.
I prefer A Fleeting Dream to Tizanakin. I thought that one was a lot more like effective in like the context of the story, because it was like that was what was playing and like you knew this was over, like this was the final track, like because you know usually when you're playing it like normally and you know the battle music starts, but like Fleeting Dream was the one song that would like play throughout no matter what you were doing, and it was kind of like oh this shit just got real now, you know, it's happening. I love it.
Was that the song that in the original poll you were campaigning really hard to like get through? Like,
I don't know. I was campaigning for a couple of ones.
And it was like down a vote, and I came in and voted for it, and it won.
Yeah. Okay. I think I remember, and I think I remember just like being furious because I think it went up against like One Winged Angel, and I'm like, well, fuck. Wonder how this is gonna turn out. You know, you knew that it was like wasn't gonna make it through, and I was being bitter and salty toward everyone, but we still had a good time.
We had main theme on number 2, and to be honest, I don't find what's so great about it.
Okay, so with main theme, like because you haven't played the game, I'll tell you.
I have played the game and I have started the game, which means I have heard the main theme while I was playing the game. If you've gone
further into the game, you'd know that there are a lot of you have to play it yourself on the piano in the Shinra Mansion and again in Tifa's room. So, and it also plays on a very effective moment when in the reveal of who Cloud really was when he takes his mask off. So. Like it's used very effectively, beyond just being the overworld theme.
That main theme of FF7 obviously plays on the overworld, and that's like the first time you properly hear it. And then that moment that Roger mentioned is one of the reasons it's tied so closely to people's memories of FF7. If you are a Final Fantasy VII fan, if you've played through the game, if you know the moments that are in the game, that is the most important moment in the game. I know there's a tragic moment in the game, but the moment where the Rising part of main theme plays is one of my favorite moments in video games. So that's probably what. So I'm okay with the fact that it's been voted so high, but I think that if you are a person who doesn't have that emotional connection, and if you are a person who maybe doesn't even really know FF7 that well, even if you've played it from start to finish, it might not resonate with you at all because the song takes a long time to really go anywhere. And it's a beautiful song anyway. Like even the Distant Worlds orchestral version is beautiful as well. But yeah, it's very much about the scene it plays in rather than the song itself. That one.
Yeah, so this is my point. That it's a really good song. It shouldn't be number 2. Like, because this is not ranking the song and the scene. It's just ranking the songs.
Well, again, it's like you can't help what you feel when you hear a song. I think, like that's always gonna be a factor.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Personally, people will love it, but this is not the second best song in Final Fantasy.
I love how you're gonna die on this hill.
This is fine. I can finish Final Fantasy 7. You can give a shit.
No, I love it. I live for it. Yeah, we need these kind of spicy opinions.
Making it to the world map itself is also a really big moment in Final Fantasy VII, like as opposed to any other game. And I hope you experience it someday, Carlie.
I just remember it being like a special moment when you first get an airship and you're just like sort of flying around, and it's like, oh, we're together, yay, avalanche, woohoo.
Do you guys want to discuss One Winged Angel again?
I guess. I had fun editing that specific point because of the dun, dun, the staccato notes was very fun to like cut scenes to. And I don't know, it's one of those things, like, I don't know if people like notice when they're watching the video, like the like subtle sort of the choices for what's being seen and when it's being seen and when it hits. But that was my favorite bit to put together.
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit that I put it at number 1 when you did the survey.
What?
Yeah, sorry. From the songs that were the 16 songs that I had to rank, it is the best one out of all of them.
I mean, there are a lot of people who, even in a music poll for Final Fantasy, wouldn't argue with One Winged Angel taking first place.
Yeah.
So it's not a terrible first place. It's just so predictable.
Right.
It's like almost disappointing because it's just like, well.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but I've already said my piece on One Winged Angel, so I won't go there again.
It's like what Joe says, introducing One Winged Angel as number 1 to nobody's surprise. This took our number 1 spot. But it is an awesome song though, especially in concert. You appreciate it.
It is always the song that when you go to Dance Songs World, it's gonna be the song that after they
people
end,
right,
and they come back. I want more. That's when they do one more.
And people get hyped. It's like, oh shit, oh it's going down, and the graphics they show with like Sephiroth and the fire ruining people's lives. It's great stuff. So like, yeah, I guess it's like one of those things. Like, though people might be disappointed by how predictable it is, you can't deny the power of the song, I think, in this case, because it is a pretty badass song.
And also keep in mind that these votes were cast by a Final Fantasy VII centric community. So maybe we could look at having a poll that excludes Final Fantasy VII stuff in the future or something like that.
Yeah, like have that little...
that way we can have way more Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core songs.
Dirge of Cerberus
excludes Final Fantasy VII. Excludes.
That would be like an interesting little tidbit with it we could tack on. Hey, as an idea coming on live. Ooh, oh, if we hadn't considered this.
I love you writing that on the forum and see how people are gonna react to it.
People would be like, excuse me. It would be the same thing, what do you expect? But it would be interesting to if you try to if you took away, I guess, that bias, or if you took away 7, what would be remaining? So I mean, I don't think we could still have the list, the official list as it is, but also explore. If 7 hadn't been a factor, how would have it played out? So
it's all about what people have been exposed to, isn't it? Because there are some absolutely glorious tracks in 14 that just get completely overlooked by the general fandom because they don't play it. So it's
right.
It's a shame.
People got bills to pay. I'm sorry.
I want to do a little poll in the future, when you have to go the whole way with just ranking, you songs you hear and rank them. Because 14, we need more 14.
Listen,
songs.
Can I admit something? Because and even if you do subscribe, it depends on how you play. Because I'll tell you right now, I usually play 14 with friends, and I'll keep the song either way low or off completely because we'll be playing our own music, and so I get to appreciate all the shit. I remember somebody, I think it was Roger, talking about a 14 track, and I was like, maybe I should try listening to the game once. And I played by myself, and I was and I turned on the music. I was like, oh yeah, this is really nice. This is what people are talking about. Oh, all these months.
When you start Heaven's Ward, you should pay more attention.
You're telling me right now. Keep your music going.
Agreed.
Okay.
So we have on our list coming about the cinematics. We're probably gonna have a lot of Final Fantasy VII very high up on the list too.
Yeah, inevitably. But I have to tell you, right? So we had, I forget, it was about 55 nominations, and we've got it down to 32 now, and it's a pretty good mix. I was genuinely afraid that it was going to be the same thing, all the scenes from 7 get through and everything else gets left behind, but no, it's a really interesting mix. So if you're listening to this now, I beg you please, well, it depends on when this gets released, there'll still be voting going on when it does, let your voices be heard, and consider joining our forum or our Discord and get on that shit. And let's make it interesting. I love a good thrill. I love ties and oh my god, oh this isn't going where I thought it was going. I encourage everybody to, again, let your voices be heard. Yeah, vote, vote, vote.
So we'll see you next time. And if you haven't seen the video, you should probably watch the video.
What are you doing here? This is awkward. All right.
Okay. See you. Bye.
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 Bye bye.